Fox Sports.
We are CRAWFORD. We are San Diego.
World champions, the Giants are in town, and they'll be facing the all-star of the Padres, Everett Cabrera. A couple of hits last night. His first stolen base since the injury, leading the National League with 32. And Buster Posey, he's on his way to New York and a member of the National League all-star team. He's had great success against the Padres. He's leading his team in home runs, in RBIs, and with a .316 average as we welcome you to Petco Park in downtown San Diego. It's the first of a 4-game series prior to the All-Star break. The San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres, and these are two teams that are hungry for a win. As we welcome you aboard along with Mr. Alpine Mark Grant and Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn, 15 All-Star games. Dick Enberg, we're pleased that you're with us. It's hard to believe the last 19 games San Francisco has won 3. The Padres have won 3 of the last 19. Something has to give tonight. Jason Marquis will take the ball for the Padres.
Well, timing is everything, gentlemen. And when Jason Marquis hits the mound, it doesn't matter if he's struggling against the Giants or the Giants are struggling, rather. He's going to go out there and pitch like they're the #1 team offensively. So the season numbers look pretty darn good with the exception of the walks. He's got to cut down on the walks. Can't be living on the edge like that for very long. He has shown, though, when he does get into trouble, he can have that sinker working and get the ground ball, and at times he will get the strikeout. I think the humidity tonight in downtown San Diego might help the sinker and the slider of Jason Marquis against these Giants tonight.
Well, Tony Gwynn has been surveying the National League All-Star team. He's found 3 Giants, and give us a footnote on each.
Well, yeah, Madison Bumgarner's probably having his best year. You see, he's 9-5, making it for the first time. Buster Posey, who I think arguably the best catcher in all of Major League Baseball. And Marco SCUTARO making it for the first time. Big cog and big reason why they won the World Series last year. Got off to a great start, got injured, and is just now starting to come back. You know, the All-Star game is a great experience for these two guys, Bumgarner and SCUTARO, making it for the first time. This will be one of those events they'll remember for the rest of their life. Buster Posey, I'm afraid, going to be there every year. He's going to be a guy that makes, 10, 11, 12 All-Star teams. But for all 3 of these guys, I'm sure they're looking forward to getting to this break and kind of recouping a little bit.
Well, Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Giants, and, of course, Buddy Black of the Padres, they'd be the first to say when you're in a slump like this, the onus is on good starting pitching. And that's going to be the key tonight. Will it be Jason Marquis? Will he win number 10? We'll get more on the veteran right-hander from Staten Island, New York, when we come back to Petco Park. The Giants and Padres coming up.
Of a 4-game set between the Padres and the Giants, and Jason Marquis looking for win number 10 on the season. And this is round 2 for him facing the Giants back in April. Got the W and describes what makes facing San Francisco difficult at times.
They just put together good at-bats. They battle. They don't give in. So you got to be stubborn with your pitches and try to execute and use my defense. Obviously, they always play tight games, whether it's us or other opponents, and hopefully we can come out on top.
That is our Geico quote of the game. Jason Marquis, 8-3 this season here at Petco, and he will be going up against Madison BUMGARNER for the Giants. After the break, it'll be Dick Enberg, Mark Grant, and Tony Gwynn with the call.
Struck him out.
Marquis over to cover.
Got him. And a beautiful night again. It's a bit more humid, as Mark Grant pointed out. Temperature around 70 degrees at game time. An ideal summer night to watch a Major League Baseball game. And let's check the San Francisco Giants lineup. Bruce Bochy's team will hit this way. Brought to you by Hyundai. Gregor Blanco, Marco Scutaro. He's on his way to the All-Star game. Buster Posey as well. Pablo Sandoval deep in a slump, as is Hunter Pence. Between them in the last 100 at-bats, the two have only 11 hits. Hard to believe. Then hitting 6, Brandon Belt. Kensuke Tanaka, the left fielder, just up from the minor leagues. Brandon Crawford was injured last time the Padres were up in San Francisco. He's back in the lineup at shortstop, and Madison BUMGARNER will bat 9th. The defense for the Padres brought to you by the Aramco Group, with Quinton and Blanks in the corner outfield spots, Denorfia in center field, and Cabrera jumps into that shortstop position with Chase Headley on the left side, Forsythe and Guzman at second and first. Nick Hundley behind the plate for Jason Marquis, and we're set to go. First pitch misses, ball 1. Gregor Blanco, a .274 average for this 29-year-old from Caracas. Good speed, likes to bunt occasionally. Table setter. Boy, got a strike call on that. If that's going to be a wide strike zone tonight. Tim Timmons.
You said it, I did.
He was thinking it, though, Dick.
He couldn't wait
Yeah.
for me to say it.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
though, honestly, the sinker is sinking. First 2 pitches out of the hand of Jason Marquis.
Swept to the right side to Forsythe, and an easy first out for Marquis.
And a scouting report for right-hander Jason Marquis brought to you by Jaguar of San Diego. Limit the walks. We've talked about that. He has to limit the walks. And think sink. First 3 pitches of the game, sinkers, hence the ground ball for out number 1. Nicely done, Jason Marquis.
You get that kind of movement on his sinker tonight, there's going to be a lot of ground balls.
And I think, as I mentioned in our open, I think the humidity has a lot to do with that. Better feel for the baseball.
Marco SCUTARO, solid .315 average. This veteran of 37, he too from Venezuela. That back line of the batter's box, he's really pressing the distance from himself to the pitcher. He wants to be as far away from Marquis as possible, and that means the ball will sink even more. Right into the glove of Headley, hit well, but Headley closes the gap and throws him out.
You saw SCUTARO there in the back of the batter's box. When you're facing a good sinker baller, that's what hitters want to do. They want to get as long a look at that ball as they can to try to get one elevated that they can put a good swing on.
Now,
he's all the way, he's really out of the box.
yeah, I was going to say, because the line closest to the inside of the box is the line, right?
Right.
If that were football, he's out of bounds.
It's kind of like
Right.
it's kind of like tennis, though. You know, when you get any part of the white,
Okay,
it's in.
gotcha.
You see, most hitters like to get as far back as they possibly can, and
This seems to be a game plan for the Giants tonight. Ground ball, shortstop, 2 hops Cabrera. 1, 2, 3, all on ground outs. That's an excellent start for Jason Marquis. Cabrera and the Padres coming up. In tonight's lineup, brought to you by Toyota. Cabrera to start things with Chris Denorfia in the second slot. Chase Headley with the cleanup hitter Carlos Quentin, hit his 11th home run last night. Jesus Guzman, he's trying to recover from a 4-for-4, 4 times struck out last night. Kyle Blanks in right field hit 6th, then Logan Forsythe. Nick Hundley bats 8th, and Jason Marquis will try to help himself out. He has 5 hits this year. Here's the Giants defense, brought to you by Hyundai, Tanaka, Blanco, and Pence, left to right in the outfield. I'm going to go the other way around. Switch this around. Maybe they'll give the Padres some luck. Belt at first. SCUTARO at second. Crawford at short. Sandoval at third as we don't go around the horn. And Buster Posey behind the plate.
I like it, Professor. Taking a right-hand turn.
Yeah.
I like that. Here's the scouting report for the left-hander, Madison Bumgarner. Deceptive delivery. He's got a long arm swing, and you could run on this cat. Last season, no left-hander in major leagues allowed more stolen bases than Bumgarner with 27. Let's see if Buddy Black incorporates that in the game tonight.
But a warning, only 6 men have stolen on him this year, and he's picked off 2. Yep. So he's done something in the offseason to improve what was his Achilles, holding on runners. 4-1 in his last 5 starts with an ERA of 1.80. So he has been the hottest pitcher for the Giants. And his first delivery is at 91, strike 1. Well, the Giants staggering into San Diego with only 3 wins in the last 19. They've lost 8 of their last 9. And you can look at 2 categories, starting pitching, and their entire team hitters have been in a slump. Strike 2. The starters in July, the starting pitching, combined a 7.07 ERA for Bruce Bochy. And the team batting average in July, 194, the worst in the majors.
Not a good combo right there.
Big time drought.
Bumgarner quickly ahead on the count. Cabrera leading the team in most offensive statistics, 296 average, most runs, hits, triples, and most walks. Tied with Headley in walks now with 35. He fouls that one off Posey. 1-2.
Oh, that was the 4-seam fastball at 94. He'll also cut the fastball quite a bit into righties. A changeup and a curveball from Madison Bumgarner.
Denorfia next, but Black putting the 2 hitters that have had great success against lefties all season long right at the top of the lineup.
Curveball.
In the dirt, 2-2.
And Tony, from a hitter's standpoint, when a guy throws a good 4-seam fastball at 94 and then a cutter, especially a right-handed hitter, that's got to be tough to try to square up against this guy.
Yeah. You know, you're constantly aware of that ball that's going to be cutting in on you. And to me, watching Bumgarner pitch this year, you notice that right away. He's mixing in that cutter to go along with pretty good changeups, not really changing the arm angle on the fastball or the cutter.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent with that delivery throughout, plus that arm slot. And you know, when a pitcher is like that, you're consistently around the plate.
And it's hard, you know, because we've been talking about both teams struggling offensively. He's the kind of guy you got to really be patient against.
Chopped right back to the mound, and an easy first out for Bumgarner and the Giants as Cabrera retired.
That looked like the cutter there, Dick, and on the hands.
He gets that one over Bumgarner, might have a leg hit, but here's Chris Denorfia. Denorfia, half dozen home runs, had a big hit last night, a RBI single. 7th inning that cut the Colorado lead to 4-3 as the Padres couldn't quite catch up to the Rockies, losing 5-4. Four games and then the All-Star break, and I don't think the average fan can appreciate how welcome that 4-day hiatus is in the middle of the season for most of the players. Ones that don't go to the game, the All-Star game.
Especially with this stretch the Padres have had here, 50 games in 52 days. You know, so that makes it 54 and 56 days to get 4 days off. Yep. Kind of a chance to recharge your battery a little bit.
1-1. Line drive, base hit. Over to cut it off. Left fielder Quint Tanaka, and Denorfia made the good turn, made sure that Tanaka had to throw in, or he was going to try to stretch that into a double. But a solid single for the Padres' first hit.
Tony, that looked like a 4-seamer on the inside part of the plate. Quick to the baseball.
Yeah, just tried to get it in on him, but Denorfia quick with the hands, got the barrel out in front. Tanaka did a really nice job cutting this ball off and getting it back in. Denorfia had thoughts of possibly going for 2, but he got it back in.
I love the aggressiveness of Chris Denorfia. He's always thinking 2 out of the box.
Headley takes a fastball. No, it's an off speed at 84 for a strike. Changeup that was there in the heart of the plate. Chase with a couple of hits last night, a couple of singles and an RBI. Big hole right side with second baseman SCUTARO over near the bag. Headley against Bumgarner, hitting 309 for 37, but the big number there is 3 of the 9 hits, home runs.
Boy, it sure would be nice to get on the board first, especially against a left-hander like Bumgarner. His first game of 4 against these Gigantes. Looked like a courtesy move right there from Bumgarner.
Denorfia, good base runner, 7 steals this year.
So Tony, would it be fair to say against the cutter pitcher like this to put the runner in motion and maybe to stay out of a double play at times? I'm not saying here, but
normally, yeah.
There it is. He hits to right field. That should get Denorfia to third. He takes the turn. Pence with the throw in, and the Padres are at the corners with 1 out here in the first.
And that's just good discipline hitting right there by Chase Headley. Mark, you touched on it. You're looking for something out over the plate. You get it, you stay back, you let it travel, let it get deep. Does a nice job squaring this ball up and serving it into right field for a base hit. Denorfia goes first to third, and the Padres are in business.
Yeah, you can see Chris Denorfia doesn't even need the help of Glenn Hoffman. He knows that Pence doesn't have a good arm there in right. Long throw for him, so he is off. Padres got a little something going here.
Last night, the Padres, with 1 out, got to walk Denorfia in a single Headley. Got a man at third, and Quentin lined out. He doesn't line out this time. He fouls that one high and away. He did offer this 2-run homer that clipped the top of the center field fence. Blackman thought he had it. Quentin's 11th home run of the season. That cut the 4-0 Colorado lead in half. Padres got to 4-3. Then Rocky scored a run late, 5-3, and the Padres a run in the 9th and had the winning run at the plate, but couldn't come up with the big hit. That ball's drilled to left center field. That's going toward the alley, and it is up against the boards. Denorfia scores. Headley to second on a ringing double by Carlos Quentin. 1-0 Padres. That was a laser shot to left center.
Sometimes it's just about putting some good at-bats together. You see where Posey's setting up. That ball's off the plate away. Quentin does a nice job just going out and getting it. Hooking this ball into left center field for the double.
You know what's amazing about that swing, Tony? Carlos Quentin is a strong kid. But that, to me, that wasn't even his best swing. It looked like it was mostly upper body, but he got extension, good bat speed. Look at how far that ball traveled, short hopping the wall out there. That's some kind of strong.
So 3 consecutive hits, second and third with just 1 out. The infield is back, so the Padres could score a run on and out or do better if Guzman can tag one, and he has had great success against the Giants since the Padres acquired him from the San Francisco organization. And against Bumgarner, 4 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. And Bumgarner with first base open, working delicately to Guzman.
Again, that's what we've been talking about here. Usually when you go into a rut offensively and it's a sustained rut, usually guys try to be too aggressive. And when I say too aggressive, swinging at balls out of the strike zone.
Yeah, now they're going to walk him. So there wasn't much intent. Bumgarner's first 2 pitches, they don't want to mess with Guzman, and it also sets up a possible double play. They put him on intentionally.
Well, how about these Padres coming out of the gate hot? They've already matched as many hits as they got against Bumgarner back on June 19th. 7 innings, 3 hits. Padres already have 3 hits in this first inning.
Denorfia with a single. To third on the single by Headley. Scores on the double Quentin. And now the intentional pass, and there's a Padre over every pillow for Kyle Blanks. Club leader in RBIs with 33. Chance for some first inning thunder from the home side. Kyle with 8 home runs. When he hits them, they go a long way. Bases loaded, hitting .250. He does have one slam in his career. Lays off the high fastball. Now Bumgarner now with the bases loaded and 2-0. He's got to throw blanks. A good pitch. Will he pitch backwards here, Mark, you think?
I think he's going to go cutter. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Looks like, yeah.
If Kyle tries to get too big here, if he tries to do too much, then that cutter's got a chance of getting in on him.
There it is.
Fouled away.
I've always thought when a pitcher's in trouble, go to the shorter breaking ball that you have confidence in. It's a fastball count, yes. As you take a look at the Padres over every pillow, sing it to me, Professor.
All right.
And so you want to go to that other pitch, your secondary pitch that looks more like a fastball, but a shorter break, because he probably has more confidence in that pitch.
He got it right where he wanted it, right in on the fist. So 2-1. Big guy provides a considerable strike zone. A run in, bases loaded, 2-1 coming up. Toward the hole, deep in the hole, there's one, and he dropped the ball on the exchange. Out is the call. Run scores, 2-0 on the fielder's choice. Kyle Blanks with his 34th run batted in. Gets Headley in the dugout with a run.
Hey, for Crawford going the other way, that's a pretty darn good feed on the move. He's a darn good shortstop out there, and he shows off that arm. Usually you see shortstop show off the arm to first base. Hey, you've got to get it to second base on the move. He does a fine job at that.
So 6-4 on the fielder's choice. That erases Guzman. Blanks at first, Quinton over at third with 2 outs. Forsythe. A chance to add more. 2-0 here in the first for the Padres.
Yeah, I think you got to give Kyle Blanks a lot of credit too. I mean, he put the ball in play, and he made the defense make a play, and they only were able to get 1 out, and he gets the run in. So give Kyle Blanks credit too.
Line drive right to SCUTARO. But the Padres on 3 hits, singles by Denorfia and Headley, and a ringing double Quinton, and a ground out, take a 2-0 lead.
Here in the second inning, and Yonder Alonso continues his rehab stint with AAA Tucson, going 6 for 8 in his last 2 games. And Buddy Black said there is a high probability he rejoins the team here in San Diego tomorrow. So wouldn't that be great to have Yonder Alonso back with the Padres, guys?
Well, he's certainly swinging the bat well at Tucson. We'll see how he does tonight. Eager to get back with the big club. Of course, with these players, Jerko and Alonso about to come back to the big team, Some serious moves are going to have to be made by Josh Burns, the general manager. Some players who have performed well in their absence. Obviously, you can't play 27 men.
That's why I'm glad I'm not a general manager. I would hate to give the news to somebody that, hey, got to go.
Pablo Sandoval. 2-1 the count.
Well, I don't know whether it's mechanical or what, or signs, but Nick Hundley right out of the crouch after that pitch. It looked like it was one of those split fingers or maybe just a slider that got away from Jason. Hey, Nick Hundley, right? Extension of the pitching coach. He knows the mechanics of what Jason Marquis needs to do as Darren Balsley looks on.
Sandoval has been in a terrible slump, but that ball is foul. He has, in his last 54 at bats, 6 hits in 54 at bats. Sandoval.
Happens to the best of them, except to the man sitting to my right.
Happens to everybody. Believe me.
What's your biggest slump? Like 0 for 3?
Yeah.
0 for 19.
Oh, how ironic.
Right, there's the
19. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that was 18 years in.
Really?
19, yeah.
It couldn't have been the 19th year, huh?
But you know that it happens. It happens to everybody. Usually it doesn't happen to a whole group. Usually it happens to guys, to individuals, and when it happens, you got to, the best way to get out of it is swinging strikes.
So the number now in all-time history of baseball, the man with the 19th most hits in baseball history.
Tony Gwynn?
You got it.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're sculpted for everyone, generations in the future, to appreciate the great talent of our partner Tony Gwynn. 3-2 to Sandoval. Pence and then Belt in the second. Roller up the middle. Forsythe with a flip, and that's 4 straight outs on ground balls to start the game for Marquis.
Gentlemen, we always talk about Sandoval being in the division. We get to see him quite a bit. He is a bad ball hitter. He likes to swing at bad pitches. Look at this pitch here. It's a split finger. And look at off the plate on contact. Rather than trying to go the other way, he tries to hook it.
There you go.
And that's exactly what Jason Marquis wants.
And when you're not getting hits and you're trying to get hits, those are the type of swings that you see. You see balls that are on one half of the plate going to the opposite field.
He's got a lot of movement on that sinker tonight.
Now here's another man in a slump. His average down to 264. He's 5 for the last 51. Last 13 games, 5 hits, 51 tries. And the count 2-0. 1 hit in the last 21 at bats with runners in scoring position. So you wonder why the Giants have gotten themselves in this tailspin. You can look at the middle of the lineup, and Sandoval and Pence are just killing him. Pence, one of the 5 last to be voted upon to make it to the All-Star game, and Freddie Freeman of Atlanta has been selected by you fans.
Good slider from Marquis, and Hunter Pence, another one of those hitters that will expand the strike zone. Sandoval swinging the pitches out of the zone. Hunter Pence will do the same.
The 2-1 pitch he swung at was better than the 2-0 pitch.
Takes that slider, 3-2.
See there, 2-0 or 2-2. He took a pretty good little sinker right there to get the count to 3-2. And so now here's where you got to have some discipline. Either he throws you a strike here and you put a good swing on, or you take it.
Fly ball to right. Blanks, a couple of steps toward the line for the out. First fly ball out, 5 straight, retired by Marquis, and that'll bring up first baseman Brandon Belt. Marquis against the Giants. Lifetime 7-5, ERA under 3. He's 1-0 this season. Belt, former Texas Longhorn, lines that ball into the right field corner. Blanks will chase it down, and Belt on his way to second base with the first Giant base hit, a double into the right field corner.
As soon as Brandon Belt hit that ball into the right field corner, Marquis wants to know, where was that pitch? He's asking Hundley, where was that pitch? Was it up? Was it elevated? Was it in the middle?
Looked like it was a slider that just stayed flat.
Stayed right in the middle of the plate.
Because when we saw that pitch out of the hand, you could see that dot on that slider rotation. He just didn't get it in enough.
Brings up Tanaka, the left fielder. Only 8 at bats, a couple of hits since being called up to the big club. Sinker low. Tanaka, native of Fukuoka, Japan. Kensuke making his first appearance in the American major leagues. In Japan, a lifetime average of 286 in 13 seasons.
Hey, he's wearing the colors of the Yomiuri Giants back in Japan, right?
But he's actually played for Nippon Hands. Two and 0. That's a strike.
They stay right out there. Keep getting that call. Not a lot of power. The outfield playing to go the other way because he will slap that ball the opposite way.
Ground ball to short. Cabrera's there to glove and throw him out. Another ground out. 2-out double Brandon Belt. No damage done. It's 2-0 Padres. Nice. Sporting the fedoras that will be given away. 25,000 of them tomorrow night. And the fireworks too.
That's a great product.
Time now for our Sequan Casino Daycation stat of the game. Madison Bumgarner has struck out 116 men this year. 7th most in the National League. Did not strike out a man in the first inning. Nick Hundley leads off the second. Oh, that's a pretty good pitch not to be a strike, isn't it? That's just too high, I guess.
Out of the hand, it looks like a big old fat pitch. But, you know, the Padres this early on, they've taken a lot of high fastballs for balls, and that's a good sign.
Well, 2-0. Chase Headley chatting with hitting coach Phil Plantier. Headley with a single and scored one of the 2 runs in the first inning. Going the opposite way. 2-1. Yeah, we expect some big crowds over the weekend. Tomorrow night, looking at over 40,000 fans still filing in here on Thursday night. Then Saturday night as well. That's a 7 o'clock game, not an afternoon game, and then Sunday at 1. Fly ball to center. Blanco cruises under it. 1 away. Well, Madison Bumgarner going to his first All-Star game, selected by manager Bruce Bochy to be part of the National League pitching staff. The Giants hosted the All-Star game on this date in 1961 at Candlestick, and you have to know who had the big hit. Willie Mays, a double in the 10th inning to tie it, and he scored on Roberto Clemente's single to win it for the Nationals.
Oh, if I could go back in time.
Marquis with a good hack. 2 strikes on him. 5 for 38 this year, of just under 200 for his career.
You know, Tony, you played at Candlestick, obviously, when it was enclosed.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, and Dick, you probably remember, when Candlestick was first built, it wasn't enclosed. That wind, you thought it was bad when it was enclosed? And I had heard stories when that wind came off the bay, when it wasn't enclosed, my goodness.
I'm glad you brought that up as Marquis strikes out, because in that 1961 game, the most memorable moment is not Willie Mays' double and the Clemente single. It was Stu Miller, the little right-handed pitcher on the mound. A gust of wind came up and blew him off the mound, and he got a balk for the effort. Knocked him right off the rubber. And they called the balk on Stu Miller. It's a famous piece of old footage. So 2 outs to the leadoff man, Cabrera. Bumgarner with his first strikeout. Cabrera had that one pretty well measured, but fouls it back.
I've got a couple of hot dog wrappers with ketchup and mustard in the face going into the stretch.
Candlestick, oh yeah. There was nothing unusual about hot dog wrappers going across the field.
Oh, yeah.
At any point in Candlestick.
Strike 2.
And Tony, walking to the visiting clubhouse, remember?
Yeah.
We had to walk in front across the diamond all the way down the right field line.
Yep.
You can hear it from the fans.
Oh, your fans cheering you mean? Well, you played on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, the Giants had to tunnel from the dugout to their home clubhouse, but the visiting team had to walk across the diamond, and after a loss, and after a win, you'd still hear it.
Yeah.
There's the Giants of yesteryear at the Polo Grounds. They dressed in center field. 2-2 now to Cabrera. What was the most unusual clubhouse situation in your day, Tony?
That, you know, the only thing that comes close to Candlestick is when Colorado got their team. You remember they played at Mile High, and the locker room was down the left field.
That's right.
And
both of them were. Remember the home team? Well,
that's right, because the Broncos were under
right.
under the stands in right field.
Ground ball off the fist right to the third baseman, and Sandoval gets Cabrera. A 1-2-3 inning for Bumgarner. We've completed 2 at Petco, and the Padres lead by 2.
and gals, who do you think is going to win the All-Star game? Hashtag ASGAL, hashtag ASGNL. Remember, the 2013 Major League Baseball game is only on Fox from New York City, 4:30 p.m. Get on Twitter, vote, and we'll be back later in this game with the results.
Tuesday night coming up. The All-Star Classic. Top of the third, Brandon Crawford is the leadoff hitter.
I remember as a kid in Little League, I could not wait to get home from practice to watch the All-Star game. I would be imitating Steve Garvey and Thurman Munson and Reggie Jackson and all the greats.
Yep.
At Little League practice that night, it was awesome.
Pop back toward us. My first memory of an All-Star game was 1946. I was 11 years old. The war had ended. The All-Star game had not been played the year before because of World War II. The game, we were driving back from California to Michigan. My parents were from Michigan and Minnesota, and we stopped in San Francisco. And we listened on the radio, black and white, by the way, to Mr. Ted Williams, 2 singles, 2 home runs.
Oh.
And the American League won 12-0. And that was the game where Rip Sewell threw the old Ephus pitch, and old Ted, throw me another one of those. Off the fist to second baseman Forsythe. And there's one out here in the third. Well, it's over. Final vote winners. And Freddie Freeman of the Atlanta Braves edges out Yasiel Puig for the final spot, and Steve Delabar of the Toronto Blue Jays nails David Robertson for the final American League player. I like that. The fact that fans, because there's always controversy as to, no, this guy left out and we should have put him on. Well, the fans decide.
Mark, you always been a National Leaguer growing up?
Oh, yeah.
National League guy?
Absolutely.
I was always a National League guy. Dick, how about you?
American League, because I grew up with Detroit Tigers being our team,
And so, I played 20 years in the National League. It wouldn't have mattered. I would be pulling for the National League this coming week anyway, so not going to change anything.
And me being a National League guy was because of the power of TV.
Yeah.
We couldn't get the White Sox. We had the 3 channels and then the White Sox station, or I'm sorry, the Cubs station, WGN. And guess what games we watched? We watched the Cubs games. That's why I became a National Leaguer.
Strikeout of Bumgarner, 2 away, and Gregor Blanco steps up, the leadoff man. I don't know if there's been an announcement since Carlos Gonzalez, who is going to be one of the 4 National Leaguers in the Home Run Derby, has pulled out. He had that bad finger. Who has been selected to replace him?
Pedro Alvarez was selected to take his place in the home run hitting contest.
Pittsburgh Pirates right-handed slugger. Okay.
So I think he's still going to try to play in the game, I think.
1 ball and 1 strike to Blanco, who grounded to second his first time.
Wow. That's a good look. Hey, if he stays like that the whole game, that's a good sign for the Padres.
2-1 to Blanco. Well, the Giants, like the Padres, have played well at home, no surprise, and struggled on the road. They are 15-30 away from AT&T Park. That one slapped sharply back through the middle, and Blanco has the second Giants hit.
Well, like any other pitch, breaking ball, fastball, changeup, if you elevate it, it's going to flatten out a little bit. That's a 2-seamer just below the belt buckle and just over the head of Jason Marquis, catching that one out in front. Boy, it looks like the bat head, Tony, really stayed in that hitting area for quite a while there. Doesn't have a loop in his swing.
It's easier if that sinker's elevated. It's easier to put a nice fluid swing on a baseball.
Blanco, one of the better base stealers. They don't try to steal much, this Giant team. He has 9. SCUTARO Hard ground ball to third his first time. Takes a strike. What's going to happen this month? The Midsummer Classic, the All-Star Game, and then the trading deadline is the final day of July. Nice stop by Hundley. Matt Cain roughed up against the Mets. Didn't get through the first inning. His worst outing ever. The perfect game pitcher of a year ago. We won't see him in the series. It'll be Gaudin tomorrow, Lincecum Saturday, Zito on Sunday. Big break and a fly ball to right field, and Blanks place it on a hop. Blanco on his way to third, and the Giants with 2 outs have back-to-back hits. Scutaro goes the opposite field.
Well, put the runner in motion. And that's exactly what Scutaro does where it was pitched. They've taken a ball. And sometimes, Tony and Dick, being in this game for such a long time, you know, you've got to be a little creative, right? When there's a little bit of a slump, you put a hitter in a hit and run type mode where you have to swing. That's not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
That's a good instructional for you, Tony. The hit and run or the run and hit.
I'm going to talk to Mark about that before the night's over with, because when you get in a rut like both of these teams are in, sometimes, especially if you got a guy with back control like Scutaro has, sometimes hit and run is the perfect play to just try to create a hole, try to create something on the offensive end.
Makes you think opposite field.
Exactly.
Posey, he's not been in a slump. And against the Padres, he's 11 for 28. That comes out at 393.
I think the second pitch is going to really tell us how Jason Marquis is going to pitch to Buster Posey, because you know what? There have been many pitchers at the big league level, even minor league level. There is a base open, that being second base. And there are some pitchers who have the you-know-what to load him up and possibly pitch to the next guy because he's a bad ball hitter. I'm just saying. I can't think what Jason's thinking right now, but he's stubborn enough to say, you know what, I'd rather pitch to Sandoval than Buster Posey. So let's see what he goes after here at 1-0. Good pitch.
Off the outside corner, 1-1. Now we're going to see San Diego's own Sean O'Sullivan. And it's not St. Patrick's night, but it may be. Aaron Gobra tomorrow night as O'Sullivan will get the start for the Padres. 2-1. 2-0 lead. Padres here in the third, but back-to-back singles with 2 outs. Sandoval waits his turn.
Like that last pitch wasn't even close. Kind of yanked it a little bit down and away.
I think if you're going to try to pitch to Posey here, you're going to try to make a perfect pitch. And if you miss, you got to miss on the ball side.
And he's wide again.
That.
And Buster's got such good command of the strike zone. He's not going to be fishing after those types of pitches.
Well, you would think not. But again, you know, the power of wanting to be the guy to get the hit in that situation sometimes is overwhelming. Sometimes that, you know, that gets you to chase that ball out of the zone because, you know, you think you can put it in play.
I think he's going to throw a breaking ball here. Yep.
He does, and he grounds it. What a play by Headley. The long throw across in time. That's the Gold Glove. Chase Headley takes a double away from Posey and maybe a tie game. Posey snares that one on a short hop and gets Posey at first. as there's still a few shades of daylight left on this Thursday night. Welcome you back to Petco Park. Bottom of the third, thanks to the glove of Chase Headley. The Padres still maintaining their 2-0 lead. It will be Denorfia, Headley, and Quinton against Bumgarner in the third. Denorfia single to left field his first time. And he and Headley scored. Quinton knocked in one with the double and blanks another with the ground out. Mark Sweeney joining us down by the Padre dugout as action moves to the home half of the third.
Well, Mark Sweeney and Tony Gwynn, nice job, guys, on the instructional. Very informative, as always.
Well, thank you very much. And I love the idea that Dick proposed, hit and run. We definitely have to talk about that tomorrow, Tony.
Yep, Mark. That's tomorrow. That'll be we'll talk about the hit and run.
That'll be part of our coverage on Fox Sports San Diego. Padres Live, the pregame show at 6:30 tomorrow night. And it'll be Sean O'Sullivan and Chad Gaudin pitching in the game 2 of the 4-game series. 3-0 to Denorfia and a late call strike from Timmons, and it's 3-1. Bumgarner is a big guy, 6'5" and 235. And another strike.
You see that 6'5", 235, and you think when he turns that body to deliver that ball, you're going to see something 93, 94. But that was an 86-mile-per-hour changeup. He could cut the fastball. He could pump up on the fastball. So he's a difficult guy to hit.
And down goes Denorfia. Second strikeout for Bumgarner. Digs out a 3-0.
Mark Sweeney, we talk about the cutter out of the hand of Madison Bumgarner, and from the left side, facing a righty in your day, who was one of the better pitchers with a cutter into the lefties?
Well, it was actually the best cutter I thought was from Al Leiter, but it was lefty on lefty.
Yeah.
But you know, the cutter is such a difficult pitch, Mark, to judge, because your hands, you try to fight to stay inside the baseball, and your hands just go in that wrong direction, and you tend to pull the ball or break your bat. Very difficult pitch to handle.
Headley singled and scored in the first.
Mark, did you ever face Mariano in the World Series that year?
I did, and that's exactly, and I would definitely say that's the master cutter of all cutters around baseball. But just a couple sample size, only 2 at-bats in the World Series.
What'd you do against him?
1 for 1. I'm 1 for 2, sorry.
Hey,
I ended the World Series. That wasn't a good moment.
And Headley goes down swinging. So Bumgarner's got his strikeout pitch going now.
That's all right, Mark. I ended the '84 World Series. So.
Yeah. Well, at least I have something in common with you, Tony. I'm glad.
Making the last out kind of sticks with you for the whole winter.
It's not good. And I have a small story on that, guys. I got to the, out with my family after the game. My mom said, "I'm so proud of you making the last out." I said, "Mom, I love you, but I'm not proud about that right now."
That's really mother's love, isn't it?
Yes, I love her too. Not that moment.
So a strikeout and a fly out to Chet Lemon, correct?
Yep.
Tony? In left field, the Tiger Stadium.
Field, yep.
Carlos Quinton, bases empty, 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. So Bumgarner has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters. Quinton with that double that one hop the fence in left center field to keep low in the first inning when the Padres got there too. Off the fifth, shortstop Crawford into shallow left and makes the play. 1, 2, 3. The Padres story in the third. It's 2-0 at Petco. to Petco, but the Giants made hay up north, 5-1 against San Diego at AT&T Park. Both teams with their difficulties winning on the road. 15-30 the Giants, 15-31 on the road for the Padres. The Giants have lost 7 in a row and 9 of 10 in the first game of a series. So they're just not getting off to a good start in any series, and that's tough to dig your way out of those.
It really is.
There's that combination of Sandoval and Pence in the last 13 games. It's just hard to believe. With their eyes closed, they ought to get 11 hits and 100 at bats. Strike to Sandoval, and it's 0-2.
When you're in a rut like those guys are in, it seems like you're down in the count. Every at bat seems like it's 0-2.
Sandoval grounded to second his first time.
You're exactly right, Tony. It almost feels like you have an 0-2 count when they announce your name, but it's the called strikes. It's also a lot of foul balls, the pitches you would normally put in play. Very difficult situation mentally to get over.
Bounces the breaking ball, 1-2.
Just like the second pitch there, Marquis threw him. Sandoval took it like he thought it was a ball. It was called a strike. And believe me, it starts to play on you a little bit. You know, those at bats start to pile up, and you're not getting the results you're looking for.
Last year in the All-Star game, remember Sandoval, a bases loaded triple for the National League. It was the first time ever a triple with the bases full had been hit in the All-Star Classic. Of course, had the great playoff season as well. So it was hot then. 2-2. Fly ball to right, and it's hit well. Blanks a long run, and he'll watch that one clear that short porch into the jack deck. Oh my, did that ever carry? Looked like that had no chance to leave the yard. It was so low, but that line drive just skimmed over the outfield fence and into the jack deck. It's 2-1.
Bad pitch at all by Marquis, down in the zone. Sandoval goes down and gets this ball, just drives it in to the stands in right center field. That's a pretty good AB.
How he gets a home run out of that swing shows you what tremendous power he possesses. His 10th home run, make that 9th home run of the season to make it 2-1. Jason Marquis giving up his 18th home run of the season. So a 2-1 game, and Hunter Pence, like Sandoval, struggling to get a hit. He's tied with Posey for the club lead in home runs, 13. Giants are last in the major leagues in home runs. Kung Fu Panda working up a lather.
Think he was feeling the pressure. Think he was feeling the heat, not being very productive.
You don't want to awaken these two guys. That's a strike. 3-2.
You could bet on them being a much better ball club when those two guys are hitting.
By the way, there's so many similarities. It's the same Chase Headley and Carlos Quentin getting the hot hands at the same time. And that ball, the medium deep left center, where Denorfia will squeeze the first out. Pence is gone. Brandon Belt, the hitter. But down in that Giants dugout, Bruce Bochy, who of course was the manager here of the Padres 12 years, now in his 19th season. As the wins accumulate, Bruce Bochy is closing in on 1,500 wins. He needs 6 more, and he undoubtedly will accomplish that. He'll be the 21st manager in history to win 1,500. The man from Poway.
I remember when Boch got the job here in San Diego. I bet if you'd have asked him that day, would he have gotten 1,500 wins? I don't think he would have thought he would have gotten that many, but you're looking at one of the best in the business.
Followed by Belt, who doubled his first time up. So you were a teammate of Bruce, and you also played for Bruce.
Yep. Bruce Bochy, when I came up in 1982.
Look at that. He's exactly 500.
Exactly.
How tough is that to do after all these games? Swing and a miss. And Marquis strikes out Belt for his second K. What made Bochy a good manager?
I think he understood how hard it is for the players. He understood that when you're grinding for 162, he needed to give you some freedom to do whatever it was you thought you should be doing as a player. And I talked about this today in our instructional. He gave me the freedom to play hit and run anytime I wanted. He would let me put my own hit and run on, and believe me, I did it sometimes where he didn't want me to, but he gave me the freedom to be the player that I thought I could be. And I think the players really respected that. They gave him everything that they had. And I'm not surprised he's had success here in San Francisco. I think he's one of the better managers in all of baseball.
And brought, of course, the city of San Francisco their first 2 World Series titles. So when you called the hit and run, so every hitter in front of you had to know what the sign was.
Exactly.
You were the one.
It was either one guy. It was either Kilvio Veras, or it was Kilvio Veras and Steve Finley, and it was a real simple sign. And I thought I was so slick with it.
What was the sign?
Just touching the top of my helmet.
And how did they answer that they knew they got the sign?
They would answer by just kind of one nod of the head at first base. So I would be peeking out of the corner of my eye just to make sure that they got it. And yeah, we played hit and run an awful lot. And
Tanaka with the ground ball to Forsythe, and the inning is over, but it started with a boom and a blast from Pablo Sandoval to make it 2-1. Of the game. Those ladies are having a great time as the Padres lead 2-1 after 3.5. Hubba hubba. Madison Bumgarner has retired 8 in a row since the Padres scored their 2 runs back in the first inning. Jesus Guzman, Kyle Blanks, and Logan Forsythe to bat in the 4th. Dandy turnout on this Thursday night. The lower deck just almost fully packed, and bleacher sections quite full. And we expect a big one tomorrow night. So if you don't have your tickets, you better call in and order tonight. Sean O'Sullivan against Chad Godin, and then Saturday it'll be Volquez and Lincecum. Sunday Stoltz against Zito. Look forward to seeing him here at beautiful Petco Park. Guzman intentionally walked in the first inning to load the bases. Padres had scored one on the double by Quinton. Then Blank's ground out scored the second run before Forsythe ended the inning with a line drive to second. Slice down the right field line, pins a long run into the corner, a fair ball, and he catches it right on the line. 9 in a row.
Since that first inning, Bumgarner's looked like a different guy. He's gotten a lot better location. He's gotten guys to chase that fastball up in the zone. He's cut the fastball in on some right-hand hitters.
Wasn't it true, though, the really good pitchers, you got to get to them
early. Yep.
First inning, first or second.
That's why I thought Kyle Blake's at bat was a big at bat, because his ground out drove in the second run, because you sure didn't want to have an opportunity to put multiple runs on the board and leave them out there. So
Padres now leading 2-1. That ball shot right to Crawford on one hop. Well hit, but for the second out. So that's 10 in a row retired by Mad Bum. His ERA 305. His batting average again starting tonight 193. So no one's getting fat off his offerings. That's the third best batting average by any National League pitcher. Clayton Kershaw, no surprise, 186. Travis Wood of the Cubs 191. And Bumgarner at 193. So the Padres got 3 hits in a row in the first inning. That was out of character against him.
Doesn't happen very often.
Nicely placed slider right on the outside corner. There are the 3 toughest pitchers to hit in the National League. Ball 2 strikes to Logan. And he takes low. Good discipline there. 2-2. Foul back. So those 3 pitchers that we showed you on that graphic, toughest to hit, they have one thing in common. They're all left-handed. What's that tell you, Tony? Why is it? I mean, the left-handed hitters have an advantage. I understand that. There's some reasons why that is, but the left-handed pitchers, they seem to be the toughest to hit, the good ones. Ground ball sharply, and closing the hole is Sandoval to throw out Forsythe. So he's hit the ball hard twice, lining to second. Now a sharp ground ball to third, and another 1-2-3 inning for Bumgarner. your San Diego County Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a luxurious Lexus automobile today. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. By Farmers Insurance. Contact your local agent at 888-96 Farmers. And by the Experience Buick Lease. It's a new lease on luxury. With Mark Swinney, Mark Grant, Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn, Dick Enberg, Kelly Kroll on hand as well with her sideline reports. We go to the 5th and a base hit. Brandon Crawford goes the opposite field, and the tying run on, leading off the 5th against Jason Marquis. That's the 5th Giant hit.
Dick, I know he sat out half inning, and Mark Swinney, you guys witnessed it, but that home run off the bat of Sandoval, my goodness. I mean, next stop, the driving range.
That was a P. I didn't think it had any chance to go out. It was going to be extra bases, but that ball just didn't stop until it cleared that right center field wall.
Yeah, it almost looked like one-handed down here near the dugout. It just took off because he hit the barrel with the baseball.
Bumgarner squares. Marquis will get the out at first with Forsythe covering. Sacrifice 1-4. Tying run into scoring position, Crawford.
And Mark Swinney, that's the way you want to do it, right? Get it done early and get it done efficiently. Nice job by Bumgarner there.
Yeah, I like that from both sides, even from Jason Marquis' side. Throwing that early strike, not wasting any time. They know they have to score runs, especially from a team that's struggling offensively.
Brings up the leadoff man, Blanco. He sent a sizzler back through the middle, a shot for a base hit in the 3rd. And it's been tough with men in scoring position, as you can see. .328 average.
Well, this is where the sinker comes into play for Jason Marquis. If he can keep that ball in front of the runner, get a little ground ball to third base, keep Crawford at second.
That one hooks down the line and out of play. Way out in front was Blanco.
Strike one.
By the way, the Giants are playing with a 24-man roster. The first 3 games of this series. George Contos, their right-handed reliever, is on the first of his 3-day or 3-game suspension. He was penalized for hitting Andrew McCutchen in the series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Bruce Bochy shy 1 reliever for tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday. Off speed, wouldn't offer.
Yep, went with the splitter there.
It was upstairs, though. You don't want to throw it there, do you?
No, you don't. And you know, when you throw a split finger fastball, Jason Marquis has been around the block. He knows what he's doing out there. But I always thought that, you know, throw to like maybe the catcher's mask or maybe the right or left shin guard, just to force yourself to get that pitch down in the zone.
Like that one. But out of the strike zone.
Yep, that was an adjustment. Mark Swinney, the split finger fastball, probably one of the most toughest pitches to hit if it's a good one.
Definitely going off of that split finger, but also the changeup too. Last night we saw a split change from De La Rosa. Very difficult because of that arm speed and plus the release point.
Fly ball, left center. Denorfia positions himself so he can make the throw to third, and holding at second is Crawford. Good throw by Dino.
You know, Mark, Chris Denorfia does that so well. I mean, there are fundamentals even at the big league level to get it done properly. And we saw last road trip, Chris got under a ball, charging it, getting his momentum, catching it above his head, 2 hands to get that throwing hand in his glove.
And it's such a good point, Mark, because he drives himself behind the baseball as an outfielder, and then your momentum going through where you're throwing the baseball. Chris Denorfia is fundamentally sound, but he does the little things. That's why you love him.
And you see all the little steps he took to get in position. It's kind of like the tennis pros that teach you how to, use little steps to get to the ball, and then the big step when you strike the ball. I mean, he wasn't this big loping strides. He must have taken about 8-10 steps to get himself in position. 2 away to Scutaro.
Advantage Denorfia.
I like it. Well, let's get the ace from Marquis. Ground ball foul. Tough hitter. Scutaro single and a ground ball to third. Let's see how many steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 before we finally release the ball.
You know, guys, we have the luxury of coming to the field early and seeing the early work that goes on. Dave Roberts, the outfield coach and base running coach, they take a lot of pride in doing the little things in the outfield. It's all about defense and pitching here for the Padres, and when they're on the same page, they limit all of those extra pitches for the pitchers. I think they've done a much better job of that this year as opposed to last year.
Here's a tough out. SCUTARO, the all-star for the Giants, the tying run at second base, 2 outs. 320 with men in scoring position this year. Just did take they almost took that ball out of the catcher's glove to foul it off. That's a good swing that didn't look like a good swing, because at the last minute he realized, hey, that might be a strike. I better at least foul it off. Crawford at second. 2 outs to SCUTARO.
High fastball here.
Just to change his eye level.
By design.
75th pitch coming up from the 34-year-old from Staten Island, New York. 14th major league season for Marquis. Sandoval would be 2 hitters away. Popped up, might be a play near the dugout of the Padres. Hundley's over there and makes the play. Oh, little juggle, but able to wrap that big catcher's glove around the 3rd out. And they get SCUTARO with a tying run at second. Halfway mark in this one. 4.5 in the book. Padres 2, Giants 1. And one will be able to walk away with a victory tonight. Closely contested as they usually are between San Diego and San Francisco. Padres have played a lot of 1-run games. In fact, 31 of their games have been 1-run decisions. Padres are 17-14 overall in those 31 games. That's the 4th most in the entire major leagues. Not always winning, but they're in the games. And Hundley will lead off, trying to get a base runner against BUMGARNER. Fly ball back a second. SCUTARO goes out. 1 away, 1 pitch.
Professor, did you just go Pink Floyd on me? Did you just say Dark Side of the Moon? Great album.
Well, it's on my deck.
Nicely done.
BUMGARNER at 12 straight outs.
Yeah, once he gets in a groove, he can find that arm slot, keep it consistent, and get some early outs. He snapped the shillelagh right there of Nick Hundley.
Marquis takes ball. No, that's a strike called by Timmons. A little slower in gesturing his strike calls, but it'll be more patient waiting for him. Struck out the first time, Marquis. Strike two.
You know, one of the scouting report points that I made was the deception of Bumgarner. You know, he's got that low 3/4 arm angle, almost sidearm, plus he throws across his body. So for him to pepper that outside corner, he's got to really get that release point out front.
Well, those are three terrific pitches, and Marquis walks away. 4 strikeouts, Bumgarner.
Yeah, Mark, when you talk about that deception from the left-handed hitter especially, we're not seeing a lot from the Padres, but that very difficult because you don't see that arm until it gets up into that release point area. Yeah. Very difficult to pick up that release point. That's the deception that makes it tough.
Cabrera taking his time settling into the batter's box to give Marquis a chance to at least get into the dugout and be seated. He has grounded out twice, Cabrera. And Bumgarner is in a groove.
You know, sometimes we'll say low 3/4. But guys, you know what? I'm going, as we take a look at Bumgarner here, I'm going straight. Yeah, that's low 3/4. I was going to say legitimate sidearm, but his hand is just slightly above that elbow when he gets extended.
It's almost a slinging motion.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't snap it so much as it's a full arm sling.
It's almost like his body gets out front, then his arms comes through and slings it home. Nicely done.
Couple of hops to SCUTARO. And Madison Bumgarner has retired 14 in a row. But the Padres lead it 2-1. Carlos Quentin with a double. Left center field knocked in 1 run. Denorfia scoring. He had singled to start that rally. And then with the bases loaded, Kyle Blanks hits one to deep short. Giants got only 1. That was out. It was a transfer. And the only Giants run. How does he hit that ball low and outside and golf it over the All-Star sign in deep right center field? Pablo Sandoval to make it 2-1. That's where we stand. Top of the 6th. And Posey takes a strike at the knees. Pablo to follow and Hunter Pence here in the Giants' 6th inning. Posey has grounded out twice, robbed of a hit by Headley the last time. Goes after a bad ball there. That doesn't make Posey feel very good as he walks away. 2 strikes. His ball glove backhanded by Headley with a diving stop saved a couple of runs. That was back in the 3rd. Fouls that one off catcher Hundley.
Are you guys sure that that's not a tailor-made driver in the hand of Pablo Sandoval? the way he just drilled that one to right center field.
That's just amazing how that's the essence of being a bad ball hitter.
Yeah, now we're talking.
That was a rocket ball Z that he hit to right center. Of course, that's what he produced in the playoffs last year, carrying the Giants to several wins with his power.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, strike 3 call. A little delay again by Timmons. And now you better be swinging at that one, Mr. Posey. 3rd strikeout for Marquis.
We talked about Marquis keeping the ball down. He really didn't want to put that ball where he just put it, but it's still a strike. That's an elevated sinker that we talk about all the time.
And you know what? Even if that was a Padre at the plate, I'm still saying, that's got to be called a strike all the time.
Well, Posey's looking, he's looking for that sinker down, and it was elevated.
That's a legitimate strike.
Sandoval grounded to second and then hit that line shot home run. Boy, that's going to rate in the most impressive home run we've seen all season long, top 5. Kyle Blanks at Dodger Stadium would be one. And he hit it off the facing of the second deck, almost out of the bullpen. Those are the 2 that stand out.
Soft, soft, soft from Jason Marquis.
Maybe pitching around Sandoval. 3-0. Pence on deck. And a 4-pitch walk. First base on balls from Marquis tonight. And showing his respect for Sandoval. Now Pence, who's flied out twice. Big man that chokes up on the bat.
Well, he's grounded into 8 double plays this year, Pence. And the leader in that category, guys, with 12 is the gentleman who just walked, Pablo Sandoval, with 12.
Sinker low. And 2-1.
Hunter Pence is one of those hitters where Bruce Bochy might put something on. He's one of those hit and run type guys.
Infield set for 2, looking for the ground ball. Waves at a pitch out of the strike zone. 2-2.
And guys, I think it's a perfect combination when you have a sinker baller like Jason Marquis who can induce the grounder to stay out of the double play, to send that runner.
Big hole there on the right side.
It's like Dick talked about, when you're 11 for 100 with Sandoval and Pence, are these the 2 guys you want to play hit and run with the way they've been making outs? So that's the dilemma. You really can't trust them to put the bat on the ball right now.
Broken bat, looper behind shore. That's a tough play for Cabrera. Can't get it. Running all the way, and a great play by Cabrera to hold Sandoval at second base. Almost a blind flip to Headley. Sandoval had designs on trying to get to third, but he would have been a goner. So Pence gets a broken bat base hit. 2 on, 1 out.
A hanging slider, he hung in the inside part of the plate. Pence breaks his bat, drops it in, but Cabrera makes a nice play holding Sandoval at second base.
When's the last time you've seen a guy break his bat on a hanging slider? Wow.
Yeah, on the inner half of the plate, not the outer half.
So the Giants with 1 out have the tying run at second. Sandoval, and Pence at first for Brandon Belt, who did just that the first time up. He belted a line drive to right for a double. Struck out the last time. He strikes out more than any Giant 70 times this year. Sinker low. Well, both teams here in July have had trouble coming up with a base hit with runners in scoring position. The Giants 7 for 66. That's a 106 average. 0 for 4 tonight. And the count goes 2-0. A trouble spot for Jason Marquis here in the 6th after he struck out Posey. Walked Sandoval on 4 pitches and Pence with a broken bat hit. And he's down on the count 2-0 to Brandon Belt.
You know what I just noticed about Jason Marquis is that when he peers in from the sign, he keeps the ball in his throwing hand behind his back, right? Sometime earlier in the game he was setting up with a split finger grip. That time, see the change, now he's got the changeup grip, the circle changeup grip. Earlier in the game he was setting up with a split finger grip.
3-0 and ball 4. The bases are loaded. Another 4-pitch walk. Didn't throw a strike to Sandoval. Doesn't throw a strike to Belt. And the Giants have a golden opportunity here with a 2-1 lead Padres to do some serious work as Dale Thayer and Joe Thatcher get up in the pen. The batter is Kinsuke Tanaka, who has grounded to short, grounded to second. Tough man to double up. Just 2 for 10 since joining the big club. Headley will draw in at third, bag high. His play will be to the plate on the ground ball, unless it's hit sharply enough that he thinks he can turn 2 at second. Guzman is very deep at first base. Rest of the infield are back. So anything past Marquis, unless it's to Headley, will get the Giants the tying run. That's 6 pitches in a row out of the strike zone.
And you can see the frustration. Jason Marquis, as soon as he let that one go, as you see the Giants got him loaded. He did a complete 360 on the mound there, showing his frustration. He's got to make an adjustment here. Hey, when in doubt, I've always felt in this situation, what's your strength? The 2-seam sinker, right? Pound the zone, middle of the plate, down, and take your chances.
Yep. Sandoval, Pence, and Belt aboard, 2 of them on walks. And the count 2-0 to Tanaka.
Oh, here you can't really mess around. You want to just come right at him.
Yep.
Let your natural movement work for you.
Line drive, base hit. Charged by DeNortia, and he will hold the runner at third. Hence, Sandoval scores. It's tied at 2. Now you get yourself in trouble with wildness, you have to come in with a 2-0 pitch. And Sandoval, who walked on 4 pitches, comes in to score for the second time to tie it up.
Well, Jason knew he had to make a pitch and get a strike early to put the hitter on the defensive. Okay, ball 1, advantage Tanaka. Ball 2, more of an advantage. He went out and took that sinker, and that was the strength of Jason. You know, you have to credit the hitter sometimes. He took him right up the box.
And so with 96 pitches logged in this effort by Jason Marquis, Bud Black makes a change with the bases loaded. It's tied at 2. to Sandoval with 1 out. Loop hit, another walk, and then a line single Tanaka. Tanaka with his first RBI as a Giant.
So last time out for Joe was last night against the Rocks. Third of an inning. Bagels all the way across.
Lefty on lefty. Brandon Crawford, the shortstop, the hitter, with the bases loaded. Pence at third, Belt at second. Tanaka with the RBI single at first. Crawford singled his last time, a line drive to left. Giants now with 7 hits off the starter Marquis. Padres, after getting 3 hits in the first inning, nothing against Madison Bumgarner, who's retired 14 in a row. Former UCLA star Crawford at the plate. Got a breaking ball up. Houston Street in the Padre dugout in conversation with Marquis.
Those two are very close. Former teammates with the Rockies. Always talking pitching.
Another foul. Street has not pitched since Monday night, yet he's in the Padre dugout. Does that mean he's not available for bullpen work tonight?
You know, maybe his routine. I asked Buddy Black before the game if everybody was good to go tonight in the bullpen. He said A-OK. Maybe Houston might head out there a little later in the game after this 7th or so, or the middle after 6.
2 strikes. Ooh, just missed outside. Tough to take that one.
Big at bat here with Bumgarner on deck. Get Crawford here. He got a chance of getting out of this inning.
Bumgarner struck out and sacrificed. Chopped up. Great play by Thatcher. A barehanded pickup. And you got a left-handed third baseman out there. A chopper by Crawford and a good play by Thatcher. He had to do a 360 to get to the ball, and bare hand and throw gets the force out at the plate.
A great play by Thatcher because he comes off the mound the wrong way, bare hands it, strong throw to Hundley at the plate. He comes up with that ball cleanly, which allows him to make the throw. In plenty of time. Hundley didn't have to tag him. He had already got a foot on the bag.
Of course, it was on that play that Yasmani Grandal in Washington, D.C. Out for the year with a knee injury. Here comes Thayer.
PCL night Friday. Your Padres are going to wear their PCL uniforms when they take the field against these Giants. First pitch 7:10. The first 25,000 fans. That's right. You're going to get a Padres fedora. Plus enjoy a pregame concert from the Mardells. Big Band era themed postgame fireworks. Don't wait. Get your tickets tonight. Get online. Get on the horn. 619-795-5555.
Madison Bumgarner can help himself here. Struck out in sacrifice. He's not a great hitter, but he's about a 150 hitter, half a 300. He's got a couple of home runs in his career. And Thayer gets a count in his favor, 2 strikes as he makes his 43rd appearance.
Well, Dale Thayer's a strike thrower with velocity and movement. You see the numbers there. Opponents just hitting $199. Only 13 free passes in 40+ innings.
Wheels a fastball high, 1-2. In his career, Bumgarner with 2 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Giants with the bases loaded. 2-2. Joe Thatcher gets his man Crawford on a little tapper back to the mound. Gets the force at the plate. Keeping the score tied at 2, but the Giants' base is full. Late swing.
Look out.
Phil Plantier down at that far end of the dugout heading for cover. Mark Sweeney, fortunately, who would have been right in that area, is headed back to our Fox Sports San Diego station out in center field, right center. And Kelly, she would have made a diving play. She's there. 2-2. Struck him out. Went to the fastball, challenged the pitcher, and the Padres are out of a tough jam, top of the 6th. Giants have to settle for only 1. Saquon, real friendly, real close. By Pacifico Beer, discovered in Baja, imported by surfers. And by the Aramco Group, purchase, refinance, reverse. Yeah, Tony Gwynn with a Candy Factory sign behind the statue of Gwynn. He hit that ball like it was a sweet piece of candy. Bottom of the 6th inning. The Giants have tied it at 2, but the relief pitching worked. Joe Thatcher getting his man, and Dale Thayer, Bumgarner, both with the bases loaded. They keep the Giants with only 1 run on 2 hits in that top of the 6th. So Marquis, 5 1/3, 2 runs both earned, 7 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Bumgarner, bottom of the 6th, Denorfia leads it off and takes the strike. 14 straight outs recorded by Bumgarner since the double by Quinton back in the first inning. One and one. A couple of shots at the Padre dugout. You saw Corey Lukey in uniform down rooting for his teammates. Of course, still on the DL. He had the Tommy John surgery 14 months ago. A couple of setbacks on his road to recovery. Ground ball foul. As they stretch out, they start at 60 feet, almost mound distance, and they throw 90, 120 in the long toss. And when he gets to 150, then it'll be time for him to be tested up on the mound throwing to live hitting. Not yet. He hopes to be back before the season ends. Ooh. That went off the left puppy of Denorfia.
You know, the sound of that picking up from the field, Mike, it sounds like it hits home plate, but you're right, Dick. That's off one of the pups. And that hurts.
That'll get him barking in the other dugout. Denorfia singled in the first inning, scored one of the two Padre runs. Headley followed with a single, and Quinton then the third man in order with a double to left center to drive in one and set things up. Bases loaded, ground out by Blanks for the second run. 2-2 tie. 2 runs, 7 hits. San Francisco, 2 runs, 3 hits for the Padres. Chop to the right side where SCUTARO he hits the grass. Almost threw it a little too wide for Belt. 15 straight. He's kept the ball in the infield in this 15 straight outs. Only 2 balls hit to the outfield. Headley singled and struck out. Three career home runs against Bumgarner, but this one is a comebacker, speared by the left-hander. Another ground ball out. Boy, he is mowing him down.
A real subtle thing he did right there. He just took a little bit off the fastball right there. Had Headley out in front.
I love the BP fastball. You'll get burnt sometimes.
Yep.
But you get the right hitter in the right mode, they get a little froggy.
Carlos Quinton, the RBI double. That's certainly the biggest blow by the Padres in the game back in the first inning, and their last base hit, their last base runner was the next man up, Guzman. They intentionally walked him. And from that point on, bases loaded, 1 out in the first inning.
Well, look at the gap out there in right center field. Just inviting to Carlos Quinton, who we know we could drive the ball that way. My goodness, Hunter Pence. He is, I mean, way over in right center field.
So since that walk to Guzman, 16 straight outs. He's an all-star, this 23-year-old left-hander.
Guys, just to give the fans at home a look. Look at that. That's there, there, and there. And when you talk about regularly, you know, up the middle there, usually your left fielder's going to be here and your right fielder's going to be over here.
And yet the infield straight up.
Yep.
Maybe a shade to the pull side. That ball ripped to left for a base hit. Now Quinton awakens the crowd at least. They got a base runner, the Padres. Quinton's second hit tonight.
That's why you saw the defense play they were playing.
Exactly.
Because he got a fastball in the middle of the plate, and boy, it's a bullet in the left field for a base hit. Short stroke.
Serious topspin on that ball as well.
So finally, Bumgarner will have to pitch from the stretch for the first time since the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and the sixth inning, working from the full windup. It's a nice luxury, or well earned by Madison. Guzman, remember up in San Francisco, Guzman hit that home run and You know, he celebrated looking back into the first base dugout, the Padre dugout, and the Giants took offense. So the next day, Bumgarner was pitching, and first pitch grilled Guzman. Brought both benches out, no punches thrown. Good cut there. And there's the home run by Guzman the night before, and he wasn't looking into the other dugout, but the Giants didn't like it that he celebrated that much, and you don't get out of those pitches thrown behind you. And they just went out and checked each other's area code. Guzman not at all pleased by it. Nothing since.
It was a backdoor cutter in 87 from Bumgarner. Usually he'll try to bury that in off the plate, but give the hitter a little different look-see there. Going with the backdoor variety.
2-out single, Quinton at first base. And a ball, 2 strikes on Guzman. Sixth inning. Giants have tied it at 2 with a run in the top half of this inning. Chasing Jason Marquis, the starter. One of the few pitches that is considerably outside the strike zone. Fastball hitter Guzman.
I was just about to mention he might go back to that backdoor cutter again. He did at 88, and he missed down the way.
A full count that'll give Quinton a jump start. Struck him out. Number 5, Madison Bumgarner. You bet he's an all-star pitcher.
Padres and Jason Marquis need a little help from his friend. Coming up in the post-game show, we're going to show you more of this. Great job, Joe Thatcher, Dale Thayer.
Well, check out the move Joe Thatcher makes off the mound, turning around backwards, also barehanding this play. An outstanding performance by him. And then Dale Thayer pumping strikes, coming in big outs. keeping and preserving that tie ball game.
Time for a little Padres offense. When we see after the final out tonight, you're going to hear from Buddy Black, and we're going to show you a little bit of our instructional, some situational hitting. So we'll see you in short order, we hope, with a big Padres win, guys.
All right, we'll be there. The Emmy Award-winning Padres live post-game show. 2-2 tie, top of the 7th, top of the order. Blanco, Scutaro, Posey for the Giants. Blanco is singled in 3 trips tonight. That's a strike. 1-1. Dale Thayer working into his 2nd inning after striking out Bumgarner to end the 6th with the bases full. Good looking bunt. Guzman will flip it back to Forsythe, and he can't handle the throw. Blanco is safe. A well-placed bunt, and they'll score that, an infield hit.
Nice bunt there by Blanco. Took this ball right down the line. Guzman did all he could do. It was just a race to the bag between Forsythe and Blanco.
Well, you know what? If he comes with that cleanly, if Forsythe catches that ball, Blanco may be out, but not a bad idea. He's got speed. Let's check it out. Oh, yeah, it looks like he would have been out.
Would have been.
It's ruled a bunt single. Leadoff man on, and here's Scutaro, single in 3 trips. First hit off there. 8th hit of the night for the Giants, to the Padres 4, and half of those Carlos Quentin. Fastball strike, took a little off it.
I was going to say, Dale Thayer's got a little two-seam action on that last pitch, trying to induce a ground ball here to get 2.
Blanco, a good base runner, 9 steals. Posey on deck. Then Sandoval.
As we mentioned earlier, good hit and run combination right here with Blanco on first and Scutaro at the plate.
See the championship logo on the right sleeve of the Giants. 2010 and a repeat in 2012. Pitch out. Hundley. And the Padres thinking he might be going.
Yep.
Now that's called from the bench, correct?
Yep. Dick Hundley again peering in. Rick Renteria. Hey, the right hand might be hot, the left hand might be hot. Decoy, not a decoy. You might even in some cases have 2 coaches flashing signs. Somebody might be picking their nose, and that might be a sign to put something on.
Or spitting.
There you go. En el nombre del Padre y del Espíritu Santo.
Runner goes. Second baseman Forsythe throws out Scutaro. So normally with a right-handed hitter up, it's the second baseman who covers. So Scutaro's trying to shoot the ball there, and the Padres crossed him up with Forsythe staying in position. Otherwise, that's a base hit to right field, perhaps.
Yep. And knowing that Scutaro can handle the bat, they switch the coverages. And Scutaro does his job, gets the runner to second base, but he doesn't get the base hit, and the runner, Padres get an out, and the runner's only at second.
But again, it's the element of that hit and run that's part of the strategy of this game that is to be appreciated. That's going to be fun to watch you and Mark Sweeney tomorrow work on that on the instructional in our pregame show. That's at 6:30 tomorrow night. Posey grounded out twice, robbed of a hit by Headley, and he struck out the last time. This one toward the hole. Cabrera has no chance to get Posey, but he holds the runner at second base. Infield hit for Posey, who was batting .316 coming in.
That's a smart play by Everett Cabrera, because unless Gregor Blanco tries to go to third, he's got no play on that. And the best thing you could do is just eat it. You see, he thought about making a jump throw and decides to hold on to it. Keeps the double play in order here.
So everyone in the Giants lineup except pitcher Bumgarner with a hit. Total of 9, 2 by Blanco at second base. Posey at first, 1 out, and a 2-2 tie, top of the 7th. And Sandoval, Pablo Sandoval is accounted for both runs. Ooh. Big cut. Trouble was it was too close to being in the strike zone.
Is it a shocker that you guys that he's swinging at the first pitch?
No.
Not at all. One of the guys in the league who's going to be hacking.
The home run was as if they put a baseball on a tee and he went out and raked it into right field to the jack deck. And then he walked in the 6th inning and came around to score the other Giants run. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good double play possibility. Fouls that away. Again, in case you weren't watching, look at where he goes to get this ball. Low and outside, and hammers a clothesline laser shot all the way over the All-Star sign into the jack deck. Not many men can do that.
Got his body out in front, but he kept his hands back nicely.
Great extension there, huh?
Got extended through that baseball, drove it out.
They are ahead on the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out. Went up with a fastball. Tied him up. Sandoval mad at himself. Second strikeout for Thayer.
He will chase. He's the Will Rogers of major league hitters. He's never seen a fastball he didn't like.
Couldn't help himself.
Yep.
So 2 outs to Hunter Pence. His broken bat loop single to left field in the 6th inning played into the 1 run that tied the game at 2. Strike with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Thayer's secondary pitch, a breaking pitch, isn't a big one. Isn't a big breaker. He relies primarily on the fastball. There's another. Two strikes on Hunter Pence.
Thayer, to me, throws a heavy ball.
Yeah.
Look at the Lorax working. Working up a lather. Going for the punchy.
Oh! Sounded like it might have hit the bat, but apparently it hit him in the wrist. And the bases are loaded. Certainly didn't want to do that on a 2-strike pitch. Now the bases are full again for the Giants, and Brandon Belt, a left-handed batter, up.
I'll tell you what, that sounded like, didn't it, guys? It sounded like it hit the bat.
He winds up and no place to go. Hard to see right.
Yeah, I think he got that left wrist. That hurts.
Blanco goes to third with 2 outs, and Posey at second. Pence hit by a pitch, a 2-strike pitch. And Brandon Belt, a double and a walk, 1 for 2. And he's had, in limited opportunity, success against the man he faces tonight, 2 for 4. Can't catch up with that fastball.
That ball just taken off, up and away from Belt.
Well placed fastball right there.
Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen any breaking balls from Thayer. He's just trying to spot his fastball, right?
Base is full. Oh, he comes inside on Belt just as he did to Pence. Hit him. Bunt single. Blanco started the 7th. Ground out. SCUTARO moved Blanco to second. Infield hit Posey. Sandoval struck out, but Pence hit by a pitch to load him up with 2 out. Struck him out. Dale Thayer gets the job done under pressure again. Giants come up empty with the bases loaded. They've left the sacks full in each of the last 2 innings. And here we go, bottom of the 7th, tied at 2 here at Petco. Kyle Blanks leads it off against Bumgarner. Kyle with an RBI ground out, bases loaded way back in the 1st inning for the 2nd run. Only 1 hit since, and that was Quinton's line single last inning. They are pleased with his effort. Fastball, late swing by Blanks.
Padres really just haven't been able to figure out Bumgarner at all after the 1st. Said took 1 hit. 1 ball really hit hard.
He's walked only 1 man, and that was intentional. Guzman in the 1st.
And when you look at the scorecard, guys, the 1st inning, very busy, right?
Yep.
And Tony and Dick, seeing a lot of baseball over the years, there are pitchers that you can go down the list. And if you don't get them early, they fall into that groove. And there's one guy that sticks out to me. And Tony, I'm sure you could list hundreds. But the one guy, remember Dennis Martinez. He was a guy that I was always told, if you get to him early, you get. But once he finds that groove, man, El Presidente is tough to handle. Next thing you know, he's in the 8th inning. He's snapping up that curveball and dotting that fastball.
Looper off first. Belt won't be able to get there.
And I'm sure you can come with a number of guys, you know.
Yeah.
Greg Maddux.
Yep.
Randy Johnson. Steve Carlton. Tom Seaver. You know, all those guys. And once they got a rhythm, once they got a feel for their stuff.
Game over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Kyle Blanks leading off here in the 7th. Knotted at 2 aside. Blanks works the count full. Fastball off the plate. Yeah, there was no doubt about Bumgarner's talent as a teenager in Hudson, North Carolina. He was a 1st-round pick, the 10th overall selected by the Giants 6 years ago. Strikes out Blanks. That's number 6.
And let's check out the AT&T Twitter poll results. The question was posed earlier. Who do you think will win the All-Star game and get home field advantage in the World Series? 86% of you vote that the National League will be having home field advantage this year in the World Series.
Yeah, it's a National League West game, and fans watching, it's understandable that you're going to be rooting for the Nationals in the game. 31,976, almost 32,000 here tonight. Bigger crowds expected through the weekend. Series that should attract over 130,000 fans. Forsythe, 1-1. Tough luck hitting tonight for Logan. A line out to second and a smash to third. Thrown out by Sandoval.
Oh, that's a good pitch. Backdoor cutter ends up in the middle of the plate, knee high.
He did. With Bumgarner, seems like everything he's thrown has been down in the zone and been a strike. Backdoor cutter, front door cutter, fastball, mixed in a change and a breaking ball.
First curveball I think we've seen in a while. He kind of looked like kind of wrapped that one a little bit more, you know? Had a sharper break to it.
And that's been the one pitch he just hadn't really tried to throw a lot tonight.
Well, he's been in quite a streak as Bumgarner, as you see the Padres box score with Quentin getting half of the 4 hits. Bumgarner 4-1. His last 5 starts with a 1.80 ERA. He has been by far on a very talented pitching rotation, the Giants' best pitcher this year, and Bochy rewarding him with the All-Star selection. Off the fist to third. Sandoval across. 2 out.
Did you guys see that whole setup? That last pitch into Forsythe, right? And then he hit his spot, Bumgarner did. And they know that Forsythe can turn on a fastball. And look where Sandoval is playing. As soon as this ball is struck, the pitch is in. He tops it. Sandoval third base, maybe a step and a half away the line, just right to him. Bottom line is Bumgarner hitting his spot there.
Nick Hundley has flied to center and popped to second. Slow curveball that time.
He's breaking out the deuce later.
'95th pitch coming up from Bumgarner. Again, the Giant bullpen is short a man. George Canto serving the first of a 3-day suspension. So this is a welcome sight for Bruce Bochy to have his starter go deep in the game. Looks like he's got another inning at least in that left arm. Off speed again.
Thank you. Thought he got squeezed on that last pitch. That looked like a pretty good pitch.
No, just off the outside.
Yep.
That one skipping like a rock over a pond through a lot of hands. And winds up with a Giants fan. A lot of them here tonight. With every game sold out up at AT&T Park, a lot of Giants fans figured, hey, let's go to beautiful San Diego for a long weekend. Get some seats, watch the Giants, enjoy America's finest city. Softly hit to Crawford. And another 1-2-3 inning for Madison Bumgarner to the 8th inning, tied at 2. Toyota. Summer temperatures are higher, but Mossy's prices are lower. Visit Mossy.com. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. And by Grown Ups 2, in theaters July 12th, tomorrow. Gas Slam District will be buzzing on the weekend. Fans enjoying the great San Diego weather, baseball, and good nightlife. 31,976 joining us at Petco Park tonight. Luke Gregerson comes in to work the 8th inning. Kristen Orfia will move from center to right, and Will Venable enters the game in center field.
Well, Luke tossed a shutout 9th inning last night against the Rocks. Struck out 1. Boy, first batter efficiency, guys. We know how important it is to get that first out of any inning. Well, when Luke Gregerson is on the mound, 78% of the time he gets that first hitter out. It's a great way to start off any inning.
Insert Will Venable if you're scoring in the 9th position in the Padre batting order in the pitcher's spot, and he'll lead off in the 8th inning. Gregerson following Marquis, Thatcher, and Thayer. Thayer, a nice job. Inning in the 3rd. He had to pitch with the bases loaded in both innings and able to wiggle out of it with 1 hit batsman, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Tanaka leads it off. Line drive single tied the game back in the 6th inning. And he lines another base hit the opposite way. A veteran Japanese star making his presence felt tonight after a couple of groundouts, 2 line drive singles.
Nice job by Tanaka backing that ball up.
10 hits now for the Giants. They've left 10 men. So now the scoreboard is corrected. Venable will not hit in the 9th spot. They have him hitting behind Guzman in the 6th position. Kyle Blank's the man he replaced. Crawford a single and 3 at bats. Did not go, says Las Diaz. There's the lineup. Gregerson staying in the 9th spot. So a straight switch by Black. The guess is, of course, that Gregerson leading off the bottom half of this inning. They'll pinch hit for him.
Because Luke is usually a 1 inning guy. Get his 1 inning of work in, and then looks like Kristen Orfie wants a little vitamin C. Either that, there's an orchard out there somewhere. And look at Catalina bringing in the orange. Nice job, Cat. Not only retrieving foul balls, but getting the oranges off the field.
Yeah, getting in that citrus department.
Yeah.
1-0 the count to Crawford. Tanaka with his lead. And he goes.
Whoa.
Got a big jump. Hundley's throw not in time. Tanaka almost went over the bag. Yeah, he had a running start, didn't he?
Maybe a step and a half.
He actually took off before Gregerson came to the plate.
First steal, so he has his first RBI in the American Major Leagues and his first stolen base. So that changes the whole strategy in this inning with Crawford up and a man at second, no one out. But Black straight up.
Maybe Crawford bunting him over here, Tony.
1 ball, 1 strike on the number 8 hitter, shortstop Crawford. Nope, he's swinging.
Yep.
Crawford was up with the bases loaded in the 6th inning and a run in, tied at 2. Thatcher came in to pitch to him, got him to hit that soft grounder toward the mound that Thatcher did a pirouette and threw him out, threw the runner out at home plate, keeping the Padres in a tie game. And then Thayer came in to relieve Thatcher and struck out Bumgarner to end the inning.
You know, Tony, you playing for Bruce Bochy and him being the manager that he is, there are certain things that managers like to do, don't like to do. And I know for a fact, Boch is one of these guys, he doesn't like to give up outs.
Right.
And also being the visiting team, you know, maybe the home team would be bunting him over, right, this late in the game. But he's hoping that Crawford can drive him in.
At the very least, get him over to third.
Right. Maybe hook a ground ball to the right side. And by doing that, you might find a hole on that right side.
Gregerson works the count to 3-2.
A lot of managers think, hey, we've only got 27 outs to work with. I don't like the philosophy of giving up an out. Some managers think that way.
Yeah, Buddy and Bruce, you know, I know with me and a couple other guys in our line, he gave us the freedom to, okay, you know, make the right decision here.
Right.
You know, you get a pitch, you can drive him in, go ahead, try to drive him in. If you don't think you can drive him in, just make sure you get a ball you can get him over with.
3-2. Ground ball sharply to Guzman, and that'll get the runner to third. Brings up the pitcher's spot.
Hey, the countdown to opening day at Del Mar is underway. Tune in as Fox Sports San Diego broadcasts live from the paddock. Don't miss the hats, the horses at Del Mar's biggest race day of the season. It's Wednesday at 12:30 right here on Fox Sports San Diego. And away they go.
Yeah, it sounded like Trevor Denman. My goodness. I know Trevor likes baseball.
Yeah.
Tony Abreu will bat for Bumgarner, so the Padres finally get this talented left-hander out of the game. Infield draws in. 1 out. 2-2 tie here in the 8th. Make one.
That was one of the reasons why I'm sure he gave Crawford a chance to drive in a run, is because, you know, having a pinch hit for Bumgarner right here too.
Abreu 4 for 13 as a pinch hitter, over 300 average. Job well done as he heads now for his next assignment in the All-Star game. Since he's pitching here on Thursday, he might see some action. Oh no. Oh, that hit the batter Abreu, fortunately. Otherwise the run scores on the wild pitch. So Abreu struck by a pitch. It sets up the double play. We'll see how Bud Black plays it now. Will he move the middle infielders back? But Blanco excellent with the bat as that ball catches him just on the top of that right foot. Guzman and Hundley will go out and talk to Gregerson. The infield will have a little powwow. Middle of the diamond. First and third, 1 out.
You never know. Got to be keeping an eye on that runner at first base because he's probably going to be going. Infield talking about what to do in the event of that, or where the middle infielders are going to be. Probably back just a little bit more so there can be a double play depth.
Abreu in his limited play, he's only been in 23 games, has not stolen the base. Tanaka, he's the tiebreaker at third. Abreu at first. The infield will back up short and second in the baseline. Still try to cut down the runner at the plate. Blanco 2 for 4, a bunt single the last at bat. Scutaro on deck. Giants with the bases loaded in the 6th after they tied the game. Bases loaded in the 7th, didn't score. They're at it again. Runners at the corners. And 2-0. The slider in a perfect spot.
A great 2-0 pitch out of the hand. Looks like it's going to be right down the middle of the plate, and then that late action swings right over the top of it. And on that pitch there, right side of the infield, better be heads up. Forsythe, Guzman holding on the runner. And you get that slider up a little bit, that off-speed pitch to the left-handed hitter. A good chance he might pull that ball your way.
Former Padre Tim Flannery coaching there at third, helping Tanaka as he takes his lead. Time call. There's Tim, ever animated. I mean, he'll run right down to home plate with this runner.
Yes, he will.
One of these days, he's going to be thrown out on a play from the outfield.
That's a guy that loves this game, Tim Flannery.
First and third. One out. And that'll get the run home. Maybe more. Quentin going back against the wall, and it bounces into the seats. A ground rule double. The Giants have taken the lead 3-2 as Tanaka comes in. Blanco's third hit of the game. RBI double. And the Giants forge in front 3-2.
Well, he missed big time with location. He wanted that spinner to go down and in. Left it over the heart of the plate. Blanco, well, this ball was hit a lot farther than I anticipated when he first made contact.
I thought Quentin at least would have a plan. It'd be a sacrifice fly. Instead, it carried well to the opposite field. Now SCUTARO with second and third infield in. Takes a strike. A single and 4 at bats for SCUTARO. 11 hits now for the Giants. They've come from 2-0 down after the Padres scored their 2 way back in the first. Headley and Cabrera on the left side. Forsythe, Guzman on the right side, right at the edge of the grass. Late swing. Snuck the fastball by SCUTARO.
The last fastball at 89 looked like it had a little cut to it.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys have seen Gregerson a lot, so a lot of times you're just sitting there waiting for that slider, and all of a sudden the fastball is on you.
And Luke knows he's got to try to keep that pitch down.
Shortstop Cabrera, runners coming, so they'll get in a rundown here. Abreu tagged out, and no further advance by the other runners. Good play. Padres worked that exactly as they were trained way back to Peoria.
Even though that pitch was up in the zone, SCUTARO gets on top of it. They do the right thing of running the runner back to the original base he came from. Nick Hundley gives it up to Chase Headley. Oh yeah, that's the old 6-2-5 play if you're scoring at home.
And Blanco unable to get to third. They couldn't get in a long rundown.
That was unusual because usually if you have the contact play, the guy's breaking as soon as the ball is hit. And Abreu didn't break right away.
No, he didn't. He had no jump at all. So 2 outs to Buster Posey with runners now at first and second. 3-2 Giants here in the top of the 8th. Line to left, a shot. That'll bring Blanco around to score on a long single by Posey. It's 4-2. No doubt about that swing, producing an RBI line drive to left.
Well, out in front of it a little bit. It was a slider, it looked like, from Luke Gregerson. He's got good play coverage.
Yeah, he does. That pitch was down, and He went down and got it.
His 51st RBI of the season, leading the Giants. And Blanco with his 3-hit night. Big double here in the 8th inning. Giants 4-2, and now runners at the corners as Posey rips that single. And Pablo Sandoval started the Giants scoring with a solo home run in the 4th. A line drive, low line drive into the jack deck in deep right center. Scored after walking in the 6th to tie it. Way outside 2-0. Two runs home and runners at the corners with 2 outs now for the Giants. Big rip at a 2-0 pitch.
Miles Michaelis heating up for the Padres.
Just called up a couple of days ago from Tucson. Michaelis and Brad Brock brought up this week. Runner goes, and another foul. Not a serious job of holding on Posey by Gregerson. Posey had a huge jump. So in the inning, leadoff single by Tanaka to left after Crawford grounded out. Abreu hit by a pitch, first and second. Blanco a ground rule double to break the tie. SCUTARO safe on a fielder's choice as Abreu thrown out in a rundown between home and third. The second out, but Posey then lines an RBI single to left. So it's 4-2 here in the top of the 8th. Gregerson trying to get the final out, keep the Giants just 2 in front. Struck him out. On a ball away from the plate, but Gregerson gives up 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 more left. And they're in front because of the pitching of this man, Madison Bumgarner. He's our Carl's Jr. star of the game. Going 7 innings. Allowed the 2 runs back in the first inning. Only 4 hits. The only walk was an intentional pass and 6 strikeouts. And Bumgarner from the first inning through the 7th, allowing only 1 hit as he stands to win his 10th game of the season. if the relief core of the Giants can hold the Padres. Marquis is going to start the bottom of the 8th inning against Sandy Rosario. Rosario, a strikeout pitcher, 20 strikeouts in 20+ innings. Opponents really have trouble hitting Rosario with a man in scoring position. 1 for 22 this year, Mark.
Yeah, Rosario, 3-pitch pitcher, 90 to 95 on the heater, a slider, and also a changeup from the right side in Rosario.
Well, there are outstanding pitchers scattered throughout Major League Baseball, and the Giants at the start of the year figured to have one of the very best rotations. And here now, if you're going to give report cards to the pitching staff for Bruce Bochy, the A pitcher is the one we've seen tonight, Madison Bumgarner. See if the Padres can get after Rosario. They need 2 to tie now. Kotsay, the pinch hitter. Ground ball to first base, and the drought continues for Kotsay. Been quite a while since he's been able to ring up a base hit. So Everett Cabrera, leadoff man, steps up. Rosario making his 3rd stint with the Giants this year, up and down from their AAA club in Fresno. Cabrera, 3 straight ground ball outs facing Bumgarner. Now he hits left-handed for the first time. Houston Street, just as you surmised, left the home dugout to go out in late innings. He's getting ready along with Michaelis. Watch out.
Look out.
Ooh, boy, that bounces off the roof of the Padre dugout and tug of war, and that strong gentleman has himself a piece of lumber, and he's not going to give it up. I don't think I'd want to try to take it from him. Wow, that was a hammer throw by Cabrera.
Yeah. I hate to see that. I mean,
with that fan with the yellow shirt and the orange cap, he got his head down just in time in the first row. Might have gotten a piece of his lady fair. Usher there making sure everyone's okay. 2 strikes. Foul ball. Past 3rd.
I'm sure fans sitting at home wonder sometimes, how does that happen? How does the bat just go flying out of your hands? Well, sometimes when you start to pull the trigger and you start to bring the barrel through, your top hand comes off and your bottom hand's not going to be strong enough to hold on to it, and it just absolutely goes flying right out of your hand.
I mean, your heart has to be in your throat.
Oh,
Tell me when
absolutely.
it happens.
Yes.
As the hitter. You don't.
more times than not on an off-speed pitch, probably. Trying to.
Sometimes, more times than not, just trying to swing too hard. Trying to do too much.
Maybe his grips are worn a little bit, needs a little bit more stick.
Well, see, I got hip to that later on in my career because I started using those rubber wraps around there instead of just trusting pine tar. And this is one of the things that happens when a bat goes flying in the stands. They don't want you sitting in the stands with a bat in your hand, so you got to, you have to take it outside.
2 strikes to Cabrera. And another foul. You remember any instance where you lost the grip on the bat and tossed it that far?
Not that far. Not that far.
5.5 hole hitter.
Sometimes,
right?
sometimes it would come flying out. And at Qualcomm, we had a nice big net right around home plate.
That usher getting the gentleman's name and address, phone number, and making sure that he is
He can pick it up after.
Return.
She's
the game.
She's locked in too. She means business. She's filling out all the proper paperwork.
He's happy about no injury, and he's got himself a very special souvenir of his experience at Petco tonight. Thank goodness, without injury. Caprera protecting the plate. 2 strikes, couple of foul balls to keep alive. And another. 4 runs, 12 hits for the Giants. 2 runs, 4 hits for San Diego. Started promising. 2 runs, 3 hits in the first inning off Bumgarner, but only 1 hit since. Struck him out. Breaking ball. Rosario's first strikeout.
Hey, Padre fans, be sure to answer the call when your Padres take on these Giants Saturday, a couple days from now, on the 13th. First pitch, 7:10. First 25,000 fans. You're going to walk home. You're going to go home and be the talk of the neighborhood. Padres smartphone cover. Get your tickets tonight, tomorrow. Padres.com or call 619-795-5555. It's a quality item. I've got the iPhone 5. Can I say that? I just did.
Yeah, you just did.
Here's one for you, Tony.
Okay.
And it's already.
Oh, wait a minute. How come some of them have 3 holes and this one has only 1 hole?
Different models, probably.
Different.
Well, we got you covered. You have this model, that model. That
you can trade off if the fan next to you.
That you have.
Mine fits the 5. What's that like? The
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Is that a droid cover?
Probably. This is probably a droid.
Denorfia fouls it back. Let's see, I got my phone with me. Believe it or not, I do have one.
Dick, I think you've got the 4. You got the 4, correct?
Oh, see, that won't work on mine.
No, let me see.
So how about yours?
Oh, you've got the 4.
Well, that.
You're not hip.
Oh, surprise.
Wow.
No, we'll hook you up.
Barbara, I'm not hip.
We'll get you one.
Ground ball base hit. Good hitting by Denorfia. A 2-out single. That'll bring the tying run to the plate. Chris's second hit of the night. Chase Headley will step up.
Well, it starts with a walk or a knock.
Good hitting right there.
Yes.
Pretty good slider, and he just stays on it and goes the other way with it.
Chase Headley, his base hit going to the opposite field back in the first inning. That was much like the single by Denorfia last night that produced the 3rd run back in the 7th inning and a 4-3 score at the time. Cabrera had doubled and Denorfia went the opposite way between first and second for the RBI single. Chase about due to tie into one, wouldn't you think?
That would be a good time.
7 home runs on the season.
Nice layoff of that slider down and in.
2 balls, no strikes. Singled and scored in the first, struck out in the 3rd, tapped 1 hopper back to the mound in the 6th. Four-2 Giants here in the last of the 8th.
Well, before this game, before this appearance by Rosario, 20 in a 3rd innings pitch. He has only surrendered 1 home run. That was a good time for number 2.
Got a call on that pitch. That was well off the plate, but called a strike by Timmons. Got that one right. 3-1.
So even though Rosario behind in the camp, not giving in and challenge him on the inner half, they're going to keep that ball away from Chase.
Carlos Quentin hoping he gets a chance. Double and a single for Quentin tonight. Up the middle. Shortstop Crawford is playing in that position behind second. And The Padre hopes are dashed in the 8th. We go to the 9th.
Here with the Padres this season. I had a chance to catch up with him the other day, ask him what he worked on when he went back to Tucson, and he said really it was all about the location of his fastball, keeping it down in the zone. We know how good the changeup can be for him, guys, but he said this time around he'd like to be here for more than one day. How about that? Don't they all, right?
Yeah, those quick turnarounds are no fun, especially for a young man with aspirations to stay on the big league roster. Yeah, in Tucson, there are his numbers, Mark.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? You know, pitching in Tucson is tough duty, and the Pacific Coast League can be a tough league to pitch in. And Tony, what's the old adage? What do they say? You usually shave off a half a point on the ERA, maybe 3/4 of a point, because of the ball yards you pitch in, and the environs, I should say. But you're right, Kelly. Good changeup, good fastball, along with that 12-6 power curveball from Miles Michaelis.
Hunter Pence will be the first man he faces. Pence is okay after being hit in the wrist. That was in the 7th inning. So 31,976 at Petco tonight, and the Giants rallying from 2-0 down have a 4-2 lead, top of the 9th. Michaelis, the 5th man used by Bud Black tonight. The Giants have left 12 men on base. Oh, that's that heavy sinking fastball, 95 miles an hour. And there's Sergio Romo. He's their closer. One of the best sliders in the game. Fly ball sliced to right. Denorfia into the corner. First down.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Remarkably, when you go back to last night's game, Colorado opportunities with runners in scoring position, and they won 5-4. 8 of the 9 innings they had a runner in scoring position. The Giants, 6 of the 8 innings tonight have had a runner in scoring position. So the last 17 innings, the opponents of the Padres, 14 of the 17 innings with a runner in scoring position, and yet the game's not high scoring. Padres have come up with the big pitch when they've needed it. But the opportunity for Colorado last night and the Giants tonight, abundant. Looper into foul territory. Headley's got a shot at it. 2 away.
That adds to the frustration from the Giants standpoint, because they're getting plenty of opportunities to have somebody step up there and get the big hit. But, until Gregor Blanco sliced that ball in the left field for that ground rule double, they hadn't gotten it.
Padres, meanwhile, since the first inning, really haven't had much of a chance. They haven't had a man in scoring position since the first. Hunter Pence there leaning over the railing, and the third base dugout is Kinsuke Tanaka. He's singled the last 2 times. Buster Posey, a big RBI tonight. A couple of hits for him. 3 for Blanco, 2 for Tanaka. Check that. Andres Torres is pinch hitting for Tanaka. So the veteran Torres quickly with 2 strikes on him. Michaelis has that big 12-6 curveball, but that one slipped out of his grip.
Yeah, sometimes you fly open on that front side and the release point is, I'm not going to say behind you, but you just don't get it out there enough. That's why it's up and away to the left-hander. There's a nice adjustment.
A line to right center, a long run. Denorfia makes the catch on the go. For the first time since the first inning, the Giants go quietly 1-2-3.
Tuesday, baseball's greatest stars gather in the most exciting city in the world for the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's Midsummer Classic returns to New York City with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. It's the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game from New York. It's Tuesday, and you know what? It's only on Fox.
You don't get your all-star fix on Fox?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
nicely said, Professor.
Well, I'm trying to coach you there. That's your slogan. Sergio Romo. He's the closer, looking for his 21st save of the year. And what makes him so tough, Mark?
Location, and then sometimes location. He's not a hard thrower. He's got that pinpoint fastball. He throws that slider as well. But you know what, Tony and Dick, 90%, 95% of the time, he is right where he wants to be with location.
He has a wicked slider.
Yes, he does.
Not a very big guy as bullpen artists go, especially closers. He's kind of built along the same lines as Houston Street. It adds a couple of pounds when that beard gets full of perspiration. Carlos Quentin. Big double in the first inning that knocked in a run and set up the bases loaded eventually for a ground out by Blanks for the second run. He lined a single in the sixth, so he's 2 for 3. The only Padre with any hitting success tonight. And he takes the strike.
And look at that pitch, knee high, right on the outside corner.
In the last 2 years since Romo took over as the closer, he's 29 for 32 in saved chances. There's that big sweeping slider. Interesting battle of the fans. And the Giant fans start, "Let's go Giants," and then the Padre fans try to smother that cheer with "Let's go Padres." Quentin, Guzman, and Venable scheduled here in the 9th. Bites the edge. 1-2.
Fastballs he's thrown here in this at bat were well located.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Quentin. Pops him up. Shortstop Crawford comes in from his position. 1 away. Well, look ahead tomorrow, 6:30 here on Fox Sports San Diego. Game 2 of the 4-game series, and Sean O'Sullivan and Jesus Guzman and company. O'Sullivan making his first start for the team he cheered for since he was 3 years old here in San Diego against Chad Gaudin. Fedora night for the first 25,000. Throwback PCL uniforms and fireworks after the game. That's a good ticket. We'll look forward to seeing you fans here at Petco. And if you can't make it, 6:30 our broadcast time here on Fox Sports San Diego. Guzman intentionally walked, flying to right, and struck out. Padres need a base runner here to bring that tying run to the plate. 9th inning. Did not go around, says Mike Winters, the crew chief. Padres got their 2 in the first. Giants scored 1 on Sandoval's home run in the 4th, another in the 6th, and 2 off Gregerson in the 8th. 1-2.
Wow. I think Guzman was too happy with that last call.
That's how Tim Timmons' strike zone began tonight.
Yep.
Over but low. Will Venable on deck. After that pitch was called a strike earlier, he goes after a ball way outside just to foul it off. But alive. 2-2 on Guzman. Bumgarner, the pitcher of record for the Giants, and Gregerson for the Padres. Inside. Let's say. Find a way to get a man on, bring that tying run up. 3-2 now to Guzman.
Oh, Romo's money pitches that slider.
Ground ball to third. Sandoval. 2 away. Looking ahead as we approach the All-Star break after Sunday's game, it's Gaudin and O'Sullivan tomorrow night. Saturday, that's the Padres cell phone cover night. It'll be Tim Lincecum against Edinson Volquez, and Sunday afternoon, San Diego native Barry Zito and Eric Stoltz, who had a big win to open this homestand. And that'll be a 1 o'clock start, 12:30 here on Fox Sports San Diego. U.S. Military Sunday with the salute to the U.S. Army on Sunday. Hope you'll join us at Petco. Venable. He stands in the way of Madison Bumgarner's 10th win of the year.
You know that 3-2 pitch to Guzman? You know, I noticed Romo came to a longer set that time. And I could be wrong. But Tony, hitters get anxious, right? And pitchers fall into a rhythm. Yep. Set, go. And maybe that's an advantage for Romo at times.
Well, I think in that particular pitch, he just wanted to make sure he put it where he wanted to put it. He wanted to run the fastball in on his hands.
Yep.
And you're right, he did come set, kind of take a deep breath.
2-1.
Again, when you're not overpowering and he's not, you got to locate. You got to put it where you want to put it.
And he usually does.
And he does, exactly.
That's why they call the position pitcher, not thrower. That ball hit high in the air to right field. When it comes down, the Giants will have won the opening game of this series. Final score, 4-2 San Francisco. Fox Sports San Diego postgame show. Here's Mike Pomerantz.
Coming up, Dick, we're going to talk live with tomorrow's starter, Sean O'Sullivan. You're going to hear from the manager, Buddy Black, and our instructional. A little bit of hitting with Tony Gwynn and Mark Sweeney doing it situational style in a moment.